Hey guys, welcome to another video. We have a collab today with the one and only Chosen. Chosen, welcome to my stream, to my YouTube
Hey,
video, not
stream.
stream.
I
I'm
didn't
gonna
know we were
stream.
live. I feel like it's against the law in the US. I don't know how you guys do this in Cyprus, but if I'm live, you're supposed to disclose that to me. What's going on here?
I'm going live actually after this video is posted, so probably it also counts as that because I'll be live on YouTube, guys, for a stream. It's gonna be fun. Definitely check that out. Subscribe if you haven't already to be notified when I'm live. But anyway, thanks for coming over, man. I wanted to make a quick collab with you because people don't know a little bit of your history, or at least maybe my viewers don't know a little bit of your history. Chosen has a lot of experience in PvP in games. Might not be so much in Raid Shadow Legends, especially like in the top 10 of Plat Arena, but he has a lot of experience in other games such as StarCraft, Age of Empires. I don't know what other games you can fill
Overwatch,
that.
I mean all of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So he has a lot of experience in that. And why am I bringing in an expert on that? Well, there was 2 leaks coming in about live arena, and the year of PvP was supposed to be last year. It's probably going to be this year, and we want to talk a little bit, brainstorm on what it's going to come. Maybe it comes with the 4-year anniversary, who knows. But the idea is we're going to have live arena. I'll show some images that we had leaked, or at least they weren't really leaked. They actually was from the official Plarium Play client, and the other one was, I think, from Twitter. So both show a potential for either banning a champion during maybe a champion selection kind of screen, and then also a timer for choosing your action when you're fighting in the arena. So those were the images that I shared with Chosen. And I want to talk a little bit about that. So first things first, give me a little bit about your experience in the other games Chosen, so people understand on your knowledge of matchmaking, at least as you go up the ranks in these different games, and how it differs from just having a rating, which is, you know, fighting teams that are of whatever difficulty. You get a standard, you know, rating, which is capped also for us. It's at 12, 13, 14, I think, the maximum, and then you lose
Yeah, for
less when
trophies.
it's,
Yep.
yeah. That is how it works for
Yep.
raid.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I guess in terms of history, like I mean, I got started in gaming as a StarCraft player. So StarCraft 1 and then StarCraft 2, and then I was a grandmaster in StarCraft 2 in the early days of that. I kind of switched away from trying to be like a pro StarCraft player and started getting into like content and casting and stuff. But I love competitive ladders when they're not pay to win. So
Hmm.
like Age of Empires 4 came out like a year ago. I got rank 1 on Age of Empires 4
Oh,
by playing like team games and stuff. But that's RTS. There's no pay to win, which is those are the ladders that I love. When a game is pay to win, like Diablo Immortal or
or
Raid Shadow
raid.
Legends. Yeah, when a game's pay to win, I still enjoy it. I just play it differently. So I play it for the RPG aspect. I play it for the community. I play it for being efficient.
Right.
But in a game like Age of Empires or StarCraft, like I'm playing to win. Like I log in and I play it differently. So still great games depending on how they function. I just kind of go about them a different way, if that answers your question.
Yeah. So that's what I meant at the start, that he has knowledge of these type of games where it's 100% skill based. You face an opponent who has exactly the same opportunity as you to win, and it's all about how they go about during the battle, the matches, the best of 3, best of 5, or however those were, and that's how you go up in ranking. And in those games, and from what I know from the game I played a lot of competitive, was League of Legends. They had the ELO system, which is initially, I think, from chess, and other games copied sort of their own and then developed their own matchmaking system in terms of how you face an opponent. And other games that I recently played, like Marvel Snap, they also have like a ladder system where, again, you face opponents, and based on their own hidden rating, most of these games have a hidden rating, hidden MMR. Um, they face you with different opponents. And with the live arena coming into raid, you're probably going to have something, I'm guessing, where you select maybe 5 or 6 champions, and then you ban one of the enemy's 5 or 6 champions. Well, two of the enemies 6 champions, let's say, and then he has to face off with those 4. So that is my guess, at least. Do you have any idea on how at least raid is going to be in terms of
Yeah,
that?
Yeah, the ELO system, I believe, is the last name of the guy that came up with it. And
Okay.
yeah, yeah, it was actually used in Age of Empires 4. ELO or ELO, a lot of people call it. And then yes, games like Overwatch, they'll have like two different ratings. They'll have like the rating they show publicly, and then they'll have like a hidden MMR rating that the user can't see. Raid will probably do something similar. You'll probably like rank up through the different tiers, gold 1, gold 2, gold 3, but then they'll also probably have a hidden MMR, and it'll probably be some sort of mixture of like account power and winning percentage and
Hmm.
like yeah, usually it's based off of like who you beat. So if you win, your MMR goes up and you face tougher opponents. If you lose, your MMR goes down and you face easier opponents. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of place people out the gate. They might just place you like similar to your classic arena rank or something, and then let people start battling
Maybe.
it out. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun if they pull it off right, because we'll finally be able to have like tournaments and brackets, and
Right.
I hope they have a way for us to do that in game. Like, imagine if we can get 16 content creators and put up like $100 prize and have like a live arena tournament. That would be such a blast.
Man, that would have been amazing. Just to catch on that, if we simply had friendly battles, that we could have been making tournaments for 3 years now. Just send a unique code to the other guy, and that invites him to a battle, which goes into the category of the live arena. It would be amazing. I hope they introduce that into the game. But going back to the matchmaking thing that you mentioned, these games that have the matchmaking in and raid, I'm hoping matchmaking, at least in the games that I know, tries to put players into a category where they have 50%, close to 55, 60%. I think it's a little bit high in terms of win rate. That is a fair matchmaking system. They don't want players to have easy matches all the time and have 100% win rate. They don't want players to be losing all their games. So from what I know, and correct me as I'm going, it's they try to put players somewhere there, 50, 55% win rate, and keep them in facing opponents where they are at that rate. Is that
Yep,
something that
yep,
you're
yep.
you're aware of? Yeah.
Yep. It's going to try to keep you close to 50-50. And if you start falling to like 45% or whatever, it will accelerate how fast it's lowering your rank, because they don't want someone to have a 34% win rate and get completely demoralized and quit playing. Because for a matchmaking system to function, it needs people in the matchmaking system. It needs
Yeah.
lots of choices for available opponents. So they got to keep people interested in participating, and you got to keep that winning percentage closer to 50. So the closer that someone gets to 60%, it's going to start ranking them up faster and faster, because it wants to get them out of crushing people and lowering
Yeah.
them. And if somebody's getting closer to 40%, it's going to accelerate how fast it starts dropping them. Yep.
Yeah. So that is one of the things that I fear they might have a lot of difficulty adjusting, since I know they had problems, a lot of problems in the arenas, where we had times where we had bot accounts in the arena, or at least we thought were bots. Plarium never
Hey,
admitted
no,
it was
Plarium
bots.
said
Yeah.
those were never bot accounts for now.
Right, right, exactly. They never admitted it were bots. That we had issues with how ranking was calculated, and they tried for one time, I think, to do a ranking system in Tag Arena and find the players who finished top 10 in the tier 4 of Tag Arena, and they failed to do that. So they have a bad track record, I'm gonna say, in terms of adjusting things for the arena. So who knows on what that
No.
brings? Who knows on how they adjust things now with live arena, and what other things they might introduce. Like a big example would be like a new shop or an adjusted shop for the arena, and accompanying that with a great whole adjustment. I don't know, they'll rethink on how they'll
Well, they
introduce
already confirmed
higher.
that. They said in that like flashing tweet, it said a rework coming for the Great Hall. So I bet you there'll be like a special I bet there'll be like a special resource to go
Hmm.
above rank 10 or something, and you can only farm that resource by doing live arena. So there'll be like platinum bars. And to go above rank 10, you'll need platinum medals, and you can
Ooh.
only get them by doing the live PvP.
Yeah, or they can call them whatever they want, of course. What I was thinking of, maybe what if they had a critical raid section right here? That would
Yep.
be insanely strong,
Yep.
I would think. They would cap it
I
at
don't know that they will. It would really change the balance of gearing, and we've honestly, like, I don't even know if you know this, but like we've seen data mined images of crit rate glyphs. So
right, right,
like
yeah, I've seen that before.
so we know that they were considering at one point having crit rate as a glyph, and then they either are saving that for some patch in the future, or they just decided against it because that was data mined. This isn't a leak. This was data mined like 2.5 years ago or whenever glyphs came out. So they clearly made the decision to leave that alone and not actually release it.
I think crit rate is one of the strongest stats and most difficult stats to introduce things like that, because crit rate has a cap compared to all the other stats that we have in the game. No other stat has
Exactly.
a cap like crit rate has. So
And it would
um
make crit damage gloves like way more valuable than they already are, because
yeah.
like you wouldn't want to use crit rate gloves if you can get crit rate from the Great Hall and from glyphs. You would always want to get crit rate as substats and then always use crit damage gloves.
Yeah, yeah. It would make it, of course, more of an end game target, but again, it would change up the balance on how we regear. We would have to regear our champions and all that. But that is in terms of the Great Hall, and who knows on what their thoughts are. Of course, they're gonna share with us anything that comes in a test server, and by the time that we're allowed to share it, we'll of course share that. But I just want to see some sort of arena that is not time gated, right? The live arena should not be something that is only available for 1 hour a day, like we had in Diablo Immortal. Remember, on the vault, the defending the vault in Diablo Immortal was a way to introduce a high traffic sort of PvP, and the battlegrounds. The same thing with battlegrounds in Diablo, where for specific time every day you could have access to that part of the game. So what I'm talking about
Well,
is, let's say
they
at 8 p.m. every day, they allow live arena for 2 hours.
Yeah, well, and the reason that happens is because, like I said earlier, they need to condense the player base because they
Mm,
need as many people queuing into the live matchmaker as possible. So the reason a game like Diablo Immortal doesn't just have PvP 24 hours a day is because then you really spread your player base thin as to how many players your matchmaking system is going to have available at that time to get even matches. So if you only allow it at certain times, you really condense and get as many people into that queue as possible. So uh, in games that aren't centered around PvP, like in Overwatch, they don't do that obviously because the whole game is PvP. But
yeah.
in games like Diablo Immortal and like Raid, where it's not like that's not the game, I wouldn't be surprised if Plarium has it, similar to Diablo Immortal, where it was like 2 hour windows where the live arena is open. It wouldn't shock me. It could go either way.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I have no idea on how they're gonna go about. They obviously have the exact numbers of when the peak of players, online players are, but of course that is not very accurate, since we feel that, like, we have to be online all the time to actually complete every single thing that there is for the game. So they would have to really get into the data to understand, all right, this is the time that actually would, the most clicks around. It's not auto clickers running, Fire Knight or Clown Boss runs or all that. That is actual gameplay with the most amount of clicks. That is the time most players are online, and that would be the time I would guess they would put a window for PvP, or else we would have to have something that is 24/7, and then we would have waiting times, because based on the MMR you would click battle, and then you just have to wait for finding Chosen, who is thinking he's gonna go and get a coffee, come back, sit at his desk. All right, let's do a live arena fight, and then I'll be able to fight Chosen, because I'll have to just wait for an opponent who's equal or better than me in order to climb up, right?
Yeah. It's gonna be, yeah, because that's always, they call it queue times in these games.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
like sitting in queue is another thing they have to fight, and that's why they have to condense the player base. Because if you have 5 minute queue times, people are gonna get sick and they're gonna go do something else. They're gonna be like, screw this, and they're gonna log off your game. So it's a hard line for developers to walk. They got to get you into a game fast, and they also got to get you into a fair game. So that's why they need so many players as options to queue into it. But yeah.
yeah. And I also want to see blind arena in that in the live arena. I don't want to know the name of the opponent. I don't care who it is,
Oh,
and
that's a good point. That's a good, yeah. I I haven't really seen games do that much. You can usually see your opponent. I don't know that I've ever seen like a ghost like in StarCraft when I would have to play against my clanmates and stuff. We always knew it, right out the gate. And in Diablo Immortal, you could see everybody in the battlegrounds.
Yeah.
It's a good point though. I don't know if they would do that or not. I would guess you'll probably be able to see who the person is.
At least if you know who the person is, they would have to force you to do the fight and not allow you to skip in order to allow your opponent
Exactly.
to
Yes.
not
Exactly. Yeah.
miss.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, because skipping fights is something that we already have in Plat Arena, where clans, avoid tags, specific tags for other clans, either through an alliance that they might have, or because they know it's an impossible clan to beat, stuff like that. You know, a,
Yeah. No, I agree with
a
you.
sort of penalty should be there if you
It needs
skip.
to be a queue system where it gives you an opponent and you have no choice. You either surrender or you fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, that would be fair, and I don't think players would be against that because that would show the true winner every time. I would think, but we also have a track record with Raid of players abusing abusing the systems, and if you guys from my channel don't know, we used to have in Plat Arena where they would basically win trade and allow the first guy in Plat Arena to jump up 1,000 points higher than number two and basically be unreachable by all the other players. So
And then
that
take
might be,
turns on Busu. And yeah,
yeah,
this kind of
yeah,
stuff happens in every game. Like, I remember in the StarCraft community and in Overwatch, people would pay for boosting. Like, you pay someone to play on your account and get
right,
you to a certain rank. Like, this kind of stuff happens
happens.
all the time. I've seen it endlessly.
Yeah, and I remember, I think, yeah, it was Russians, I think, that were selling the top position in Plat every week reset for $2,000. So if you wanted
Yeah.
if you wanted the number one, trophy, you could pay for it and not actually compete, and they would win trade and give you that. But anyway, this
Yeah.
this was the video, guys. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Chosen, for being here. It was a fun call up. I want to do one of these again when we have more info, so we can brainstorm again with additional information and make a more educated guess on what is to come for the live arena, and we might get more players, more content creators here for the collab, for that thing. So we're gonna do another collab over on Chosen's channel, and definitely check that out as well. I'll leave links down below in the comments of this video. So Chosen, thank you so much, guys.
You bet,
Thanks
man.
everyone, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.
Thanks. Later.